It is What's Up Weekend and a special edition, as you can tell from our lack of intro music. It's something different. It's our final What's Up Weekend as well, so this is really perfect timing for us and hopefully perfect timing for the Billy Elliot Musical team who are in Korea at the moment. It was first performed here in 2010. I believe the first time that it was translated into another language and performed like that, returning in 2017, chalking up nearly 190 performances along the way, attracting a 94% audience capacity, a record 9.6 rating out of 10, I assume, and they've kindly visited the Daily K studio today. We've got Simon Pollard, International Associate Director, and Tom Hodgson, International Associate Choreographer in the studio. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us in the studio. Would you like to introduce yourselves briefly and say a hello to our listeners as well?
Yeah, hello everyone. My name's Simon. I'm from London, and really excited to be here.
Lovely stuff.
Hello, I'm Tom, and I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Okay, Tom from Australia, Simon from London, if you can tell by my accent, also from London as well. It's good to have you in the studio. Billy Elliot is the musical that you're here for, but here in Korea, I believe it's not your first time for both of you. You've both been in the past for the same performance, for the same musical?
That's right. I've already worked on the original Billy Elliot production in Korea.
In 2010?
That's right,
oh,
yes.
Wow.
And as you said, the first foreign language version of the show, which was incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
And I've also been here for Matilda in 2018.
Oh, wow. We did have some of the team here in the studio at that time. I think the director, Nick was in the
Ashton,
studio.
yes, yeah.
And Chejedim, one of the musical actors, doing some amazing singing as well that morning. I don't know if we can push you today to sing a number, but
I think leave it to J-Rim. I don't think you want to hear that, no.
And Simon, you have also been here before in Korea?
Yeah, so I did the 2017 production of Billy. So I was here obviously for the auditions in 2016 and then for the show in 2017 as well.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we are in a global pandemic. All of our listeners are affected. Korea is affected, even though our numbers aren't too bad. Has it been very different, the feel here this time around, both of you?
Well, obviously, yes. Obviously, we have been very careful about travelling around the city. So we've done a lot less of that than we usually would. And in rehearsals themselves and working on the production, there's been a number of restrictions. And we've been extremely careful about distancing and how we rehearse. To make sure that we're COVID safe.
I mean, even getting here, was that a challenge in itself? Simon, were you travelling from the UK to Korea?
Yeah, absolutely. And there was a travel ban for quite a while. It looked like I wasn't going to be able to come out. Last year, we both worked on the Japanese production of Billy Elliot in Tokyo in 2020, which we actually both did from our homes via Zoom, did the whole thing remotely, which we thought was what was going to have to happen with this Korean production as well. So kind of at the last minute, we found out that I was going to be able to travel, which was fantastic.
Yes.
So I was able to come out and join rehearsals. So, yeah.
Did you guys have to go through the normal self-quarantine procedure when you got here?
We certainly did. 2 weeks in quarantine.
Yeah.
Where did you spend it then? Were you in the same place or?
Yes,
we were, but at different times.
At different times. I arrived earlier than Simon, and we were in a hotel mid-city around Dongdaemun.
Yeah.
And it was fine. And I think anyone who's been through that knows it is challenging. But it's for us to be here and to be able to work on this show in person. I mean, that's a very small price to pay.
Yeah, it was worth it.
So the Japanese experience doing it online via Zoom, it worked, but is not preferable.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a huge challenge, and it feels amazing, like an amazing accomplishment that we achieved it remotely. But none of us got into theatre to sit behind computer screens all day.
Sure.
To be in the room with people, to be collaborating with people. That's why we do what we do, and so it's so fantastic to be here in Seoul and able to do that, despite the restrictions that we do have.
Well, that's fantastic to hear. I mean, in both your home countries, in the UK and Australia, are musicals now getting back up and running with audiences in person?
It's very slow.
Yeah.
I mean, in Australia, we are still in lockdown at the moment, and so live theatre isn't going ahead, and we've sort of been in that circle since the pandemic has started. So we're nowhere near where you are in Korea in terms of keeping live theatre open.
I see. And in the UK?
In the UK, shows are gradually opening up. Sometimes they're having to close again due to COVID infections or people having to self-isolate, but there's definitely a real push at the moment to be trying to get things back to normal as kind of more and more people are vaccinated in the UK.
Sure, it seems like a lot of other services and like the sports events are open, so it would be great to see theatre back up and running.
Absolutely.
Before we get into too many details, for any of our listeners who are not too familiar with Billy Elliot, the movie came out first, if I'm not mistaken, maybe about 20 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, I think it's 2001 it came out.
Yeah.
And what does it focus on? What's the story for anyone who's never heard of it, maybe been living in a cave?
Okay, so Billy Elliot tells the story of a boy growing up in the northeast of England in 1984. He's from a mining family, so his father and brother are both miners, and he one day accidentally finds himself in the middle of a ballet class and decides that actually this is the thing that he wants to do, and it tells his story as he overcomes various struggles to achieve his dreams. At the same time, the miners are involved with the mining strike of 1984 against Margaret Thatcher. So we kind of have these two stories happening alongside each other.
And that was the on-screen version. Oh, I forget the guy's name now. The child actor who went on.
Jamie Bell,
Yeah, he was fantastic. That was like his breakout role, right?
Yeah.
And helped him get flung into stardom. It's really coincidental. Just, I think 3 weeks ago, it was on TV here in Korea, on one of the big networks in the daytime. And I was watching it with my kids and my mother, who's here at the moment, and I realised there's a lot of colourful language in that my young children were not expecting. Is the theatre version like the same in that sense? And how did it get onto the stage?
Okay. That's a great question.
Well, I think, as legend has it,
yes,
Elton John went to see Billy Elliot the film at the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think he sort of said to his partner David that this is going to be an amazing musical. And I think from that point, they made that connection with Stephen Daldry and Working Title, and from there the idea of the musical was born, and from that came this incredible theatre show that's been touring the world for the last 15 years.
And yes, the language in the show certainly
colourful.
Certainly in the British version is strong. I think in translation it's softened slightly, I would say. So Korean audiences shouldn't be afraid of the language, but kids are kids.
Yeah, sure. And I was contemplating while I was watching it with them, should I turn this off? And I was like, no, like this is like real and raw, and I'm always struggling with my kids getting interested in English, and when they could see my mum like gasping, they got interested. They were like, what does that mean? And so it's better than nothing. Yes,
I think also it's a true representation of that sort of society, and that community at that time. And I think the show as well, one of its charms is that it has brought some of that truth and reality to the theatre, the stage version as well, because it's obviously more fantastical and theatrical, but it hasn't lost any of that grittiness, which gives this show its special appeal.
Yeah, so the musical came out in the UK first in 2005, was it?
Correct, yeah.
At the Victoria Palace Theatre.
Yep.
actually is very personal for me. I watched the film and I can't remember too much because I think it was just on telly one day in the UK when I was still living there. But my wife-to-be, my Korean wife-to-be, she was studying English. We met there and she took me to Billy Elliot as our final date before coming back to Korea.
Oh.
It's so odd. And I remember watching it and thinking, well, this is way better than the film. Just my personal opinion, you know, all unfolding in front of you, the dance and the ballet being a main theme as well. What would you guys say are like the main differences, and do you get more out of one than the other between the film and the musical?
I suppose one of the main differences is, you know, it's live, it's real, and so the audience share quite an incredible experience because what they're seeing in front of them, you know, in film you can get away with clever edits and stuff, but you can't deny what you're seeing in front of you. So they are seeing an actual 11, 12-year-old boy do incredible things in front of them. It's like they're seeing a real life Billy Elliot on stage as well as seeing the story being told.
Oh, wow. That's a good point, isn't it? Because, yeah, Billy Elliot, the story of this guy getting interested in ballet and then learning, and then actually there's a real Billy Elliot who's learned and is doing this on stage at the same time. Yeah. That's so interesting. In terms of the music then, is it a lot inspired from the film? Are there pieces directly taken from it and then others that you've made up for the musical only?
I think certainly. I mean, the score is completely written for the stage show, and it's and in the film it's sort of gritty 80s soundtrack with, you know, a sort of pop feel, which, you know, from the time, and I think there's influences of that certainly in the show, but because of the style of the show and because it is much more dramatic, then obviously the music is able to go much further in terms of its influences.
Sure. And with the Korean version being the first to be translated, was the Japanese version also translated later on?
Yeah.
The
further
one
down the line. Yeah.
Is there a lot different between like the original music and then when it's translated? Does it have the same feel, the same vibe?
I'd say it absolutely has the same feel. Yeah. We really try to remain true to the integrity of the original show. That's kind of our job is to ensure that Korean audiences get the same experience that they would get really from seeing the original show.
Sure. Tropic Girl K is on board on the chat saying, have you kept all the background story then about the mining strike, the period of hardships, or has there been some artistic liberty and modern twist to the present musical? And then an add-on to that, for Korean audiences then, there's no like changes for a Korean background in that instance, right?
No, absolutely. The story is still rooted in the northeast of England in 1984. There is a very political angle in the show. You know, the story of a group of people kind of protesting against the government, which, okay, it's a very British story, but I think that's a very universal story that kind of we see happen all over the world. So, yeah, we keep it as it is, and I think audiences wherever we are in the world can still kind of engage with that story and with that background.
Yeah, in the early 80s as well here, many uprisings democratically, so I'm sure to Korean audiences even more, it kind of might feel close to the bone, right? So we've got a song to play, Electricity. Is this, would you say, the representative number maybe from the musical?
Oh, I mean, I'd say it's one of the most popular numbers from the musical, and it does really sum up what dancing means to Billy.
This is his track.
This is him bearing it all to everyone and trying to articulate how dancing sets him free, how that expression through art sets him free. And it's, you know, you hear it in the song.
Fantastic. I think we've got a version of the track with the 4 Billies from the Korean musical. Now, obviously, when someone goes to watch this in person, they're not going to see 4 Billies doing this, right? And I'm guessing they don't like have to practice harmonizing or anything like that because on stage it's just them. How was their chemistry for this? Because I heard this video was released, the music video for this, got some great responses as well. How did that process come about and how do they interact with one another?
I mean, It's brilliant because all these boys trained with each other. They auditioned with each other. Our audition process takes a year altogether, and from that point they then have 6 months pre-training before they then go into rehearsals for the show, which takes 4 months. So these boys know each other so well. Obviously, when they're on stage playing the role, they're doing it on their own. So it was really nice for them to have something to do together, to actually work together on a project.
Wow. Okay, we're going to hear this Electricity from 4 Billy Elliots here in Korea. Wow, that was a big number. We do a lot of K-pop on the show, so that's got a very different feel to it. I don't know, I kind of feel a few echoes to Matilda as well in that track. Maybe someone who's been hard done by, that kind of vibe from it. But Billy Elliot and the casting process, because of COVID, I'm sure was different. I'm sure it must be difficult anyway with child actors as well. Kay was saying on board from St. Lucia, the intensive dancing, the singing, the training for 12, 11, 13-year-olds must be fun but challenging too. What is the process? You said it takes like a year and they're together for that long. So when do the auditions begin?
Well, they start about a year, or often over a year before the production starts, and it's in 3 stages. And at the end of each stage, we keep a number of boys, and then we put them into training, and then we see them after 3 to 4 to 5 months. Yeah. Again, we look at their progress, we challenge them again, and we make another cut. Mm-hmm. And then we go to a final audition, maybe about 5 or 6 months after that. Yeah. Again, we check their progress. And obviously that final audition is very, very thorough. Yeah. And then from that final audition, we make the final selection. And those boys go into a really intensive training period in the lead up to the start of rehearsals. So we're monitoring those boys over that entire period, and we're watching footage, we're seeing how they progress. We're in constant discussion with the local team and with each other between the departments. So
is this all done from your bases back home, the initial like audition process?
Well, usually we're here. Yeah. We would be here in person
for every
stage of that audition process. Oh, wow. And obviously in between that, when the training is happening, the local team are taking care of all that training, and they are excellent. And we're in communication with them throughout that period.
Was it different because of COVID this time? You couldn't be here for every audition?
Yes, we were here for the first round, which was back in February, March 2020, just as things were beginning to kick off.
Oh, I see. Yes, just at the beginning.
And then it meant that the second round in August and then the third round, which I think was in January or February earlier this year, all had to be done remotely, led by the local team, as Tom said, but we were kind of zooming in to those final auditions.
And so when it comes to child actors, especially in musicals as well, what do you focus on the most? I mean, what are you looking for in the auditions and then subsequently in the training?
Well, we're looking for slightly different things in our... When I talk about what I'm looking for, I'm looking from a physical and dance point of view.
Sure.
And obviously I'm looking at potential, and I'm looking at how quickly their body develops, whether they're strong enough, whether they can connect their mind, their thoughts to their movement, whether they can express themselves to their body. Simon is looking for slightly different things when he first... auditions them.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the brilliant things about having this extended audition process is that we actually get to know the boys over that time. And such an important part of Billy is his personality. Yeah. You know, we're looking for someone who can carry a 3-hour-long show, which is not an easy undertaking for an adult actor, never mind a child. So we're looking for boys with a spark, with a spirit about them. And also with that kind of fighting personality, I suppose, that real determination. Those boys who we kind of watch in the audition and we see, you know, that they're kind of determined to succeed. They want to learn, they want to dance, they want to kind of soak it all up. Those are the boys that we kind of have our eye on. And so it really is about a special kind of, I suppose it's about having the quality of Billy Elliot about them. We want to find those real life Billy Elliots.
That kind of persona on screen. Yeah, that's the thing that leaves the biggest impression after watching the film or the musical, as I did in London, I suppose. But in this musical, it's a bit different, I suppose, to other musicals where maybe dance is not a staple of the original story, like in Matilda, I suppose, where it's got nothing to do with dance. In this case, it deals with ballet in particular. So, I mean, Tom, are you like a specialist in that kind of field as well, ballet? And are we teaching the boys to learn like proper ballet through the musical as well?
Absolutely. I mean, the choreography of the musical, Peter Darling's amazing choreography. It uses all different genres, disciplines of dance, and to be able to perform the show, the boys have to be at a very high level in all those disciplines.
Do they need a ballet background?
They don't necessarily need to have a ballet background because if they've got potential, we can train them. So, but ultimately, ballet is sort of the base of all of most dance, if you like. If you've got that, you've got your foundations.
Sure.
So it is incredibly important that the boys are trained to a very high standard in classical from the beginning.
Wow. And with that ballet base, does it make like this musical and the training that goes into it like more difficult than other performances and other musicals, do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, if you look at the rehearsal process itself, when we start rehearsals to when we go to cast on stage, which is when we move from rehearsals to the stage, is 13 weeks.
Wow.
And that's probably double the length of any other musical in itself. And then consider that the boys, before they even start that rehearsal process, have been training for a year. It starts to give you an idea of the level of athleticism and sort of performance that they have to achieve.
Wow, it does sound like a bigger undertaking than some other equivalent musicals. Tropico asks an interesting question here, saying, do they get schooling support during their training? Are they training like all day long throughout this year-long period, or what is happening?
No, so obviously they have to do school as well. So generally they're kind of going to school certainly for half a day most days, and then training, rehearsing for the second half of the day.
Oh,
basically.
wow!
So it's huge. It really is a massive undertaking for them.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so Simon, who for our listeners who are just tuning in now, is the International Associate Director of Billy Elliot the Musical. We've also got Tom Hodgson, the International Associate Choreographer. When it's children who are the stars, so Matilda might be a similar thing here, are there many aspects that are different and more difficult than working with just adult actors?
Do you know what? In some ways, it's easier working with kids than adults, because a lot of the time with kids, they're not coming with any preconceptions of what acting is. They don't know what it is to be a good actor or a bad actor. They haven't got habits. So most of the kids, as we say, come from some sort of dance background. They won't have had time to have been doing kind of acting classes and stuff, which is a good thing, because our process working on this show is very much about getting that actual boy's personality into the performance. We try and keep it as real as possible.
Sure.
And as Tom said, it's a very long rehearsal process. So we spend a very long time on the script with the boys, getting them to, it sounds like a cliche, but really getting them to make it their own. How would you say this line? How would you do that? Which I think with adult actors, they come in going, right, I'm an actor, this is what I do. And then my job is kind of unpicking that and kind of having to take steps backwards. But as we said, these boys, they want to learn, they want to soak it up.
Sure.
And that's great to work with.
Yeah, that's a great positive spin on things. There aren't too many things then that are more difficult. Maybe the time restrictions with their schooling and stuff. Does that hinder things at all?
Yes, I mean, certainly you have to take into consideration that these are children and they must go to school and they have to have, enough time to do regular stuff, and relax and do stuff with their family. And that does also affect our rehearsal process and our training process. And that does mean that we have a much longer period to accommodate those factors, yeah.
Sure. And then there are adult musical actors in the show as well. Yep. One question on the stream was, who's playing Julie Walters' character? She had such an impressive role in the film, right? What's that like then, picking them, and then also the interaction with the children there? Is there like some kind of parental spirit on stage or behind the scenes?
I mean, we always say that working on Billy Elliot, it feels like a family, and I think part of that comes down to the fact that we have such a long rehearsal process, and because everyone does form a bond with these boys. Everyone feels proud and protective of these kids, and so by the time we're going on stage, there's such a wonderful kind of warm, supportive audience. We've got a brilliant cast of adults working on the show, many of whom actually did the show back in 2017 as well. So we're so pleased that we've got the majority of those actors back as well. As with many shows in Korea, most of the principal roles are double cast. So the role of Mrs. Wilkinson is shared by two performers, Jung-won and Young-ju, who are both absolutely fantastic. I know they're kind of stage icons, both of them here in Korea. So I think audiences are going to enjoy seeing them do something, I think, a little bit different from what they normally do. I know that Jung-won's currently playing Velma in Chicago and Young-ju playing Mama in Chicago, and this role, the Julie Walters role, is very different.
Sure, it's a lot of attitude, if I remember the film correctly. And talking of Jung-won, we're going to play another song now. The daughter of Jung-won is singer Yoo-ha, right? You haven't come across her daughter, have you?
I hadn't done until I came here and started talking to Jung-won about her, and since I've been here, I just can't stop listening to this song. It's so good.
Oh,
it's really brilliant.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're going to play her new one, Cherry on Top. It seems like, I guess, acting and vocals run in the family. Let's take a listen. Yoo-ha, Cherry on Top. That was Yoo-ha, Cherry on Top. Once again, the reason for playing that is Yoo-ha is the daughter of Jung-won, who's playing Mrs. Wilkinson. Any similarities in the voice?
Very similar. They also look very similar as well. Actually, watching the music video for Cherry on Top, I can definitely see Mrs. Wilkinson in there.
Wow. Do you think there's a lot of overlap then between pop singers and musical stars? Because a lot of musicals in Korea often will maybe have like a K-pop singer once or twice, or a former K-pop singer on stage. Have you had the pleasure of working with anybody like that?
We actually haven't done, have we? We went to see Beetlejuice a couple of weeks ago, didn't we?
We did.
That's
yes.
out at the moment, isn't it?
I think it's just finished, closed. Which I know has got some kind of popular had some popular performers in it. But I think Billy Elliot is quite specific in its style, unlike other musicals. And as I said, there's something about trying to find. I suppose there aren't really any roles, are there, for kind of your younger stars? You either have to be 11 or 12-year-old child, or you have to be a 40-year-old minor, really.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's quite unique. So we're in the studio, guys. What's Up Weekend? Alex is not in today. We've got instead Tom Hodgson, International Associate Choreographer, and Simon Pollard, International Associate Director of Billy Elliot the Musical, which is going to be starting, this must be its third run in Korea.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah.
At the end of this month. And so we're asking all these questions. If you've got any questions and you're on the stream, don't be shy and let us know. Leon the Lemonade from Singapore says, are there any plans to stream the musical online for international viewers, this one or the English one? And we've seen a lot of K-pop have to switch to online platforms. Has that been the case for musicals at all?
It certainly has happened a lot in the UK. Certainly during lockdown last year, I was kind of watching a lot of kind of streamed theatre. As far as I know, there are no plans to stream this production. I think there is, we did do a live recording of the West End show a few years ago, which is still available. But kind of as we were saying, there's something about this show particularly that it kind of has to be experienced live. So I'm sorry if people can't get here, but we really do want to encourage people to come back to live theatre, see this stuff happening in front of you.
Sure. I think theatre, more than maybe even a K-pop concert, it's got to be seen in person. And yeah, if the restrictions don't allow that, then maybe certain countries will do that. But here in Korea, we've been doing in-person performances the whole time. Yeah. If you were to pick out, each of you, your favourite part of this musical to recommend to any potential audience members, what would it be from Billy Elliot?
It's really difficult, actually. And we do get asked this question, obviously. It's and for me, I think I have two favourite numbers. And it's one is Grandma's Song, in which we see Grandma explain to Billy about her life and her relationship with her husband, which wasn't very good, and about really about saying to him, you get one chance at this.
Yeah.
You got to do what you want to do. And it's just absolutely beautifully directed and choreographed. And it's a very special moment in theatre for me. Mm-hmm. And secondly, Solidarity, which is a 12-minute number.
Wow.
Which is immense. And it has practically the entire cast in it. Which tells the story of Billy's training over a period of 3 to 4 months within that 12 minutes. It's incredibly complex. It's one of the best choreographic numbers you'll ever see on a music theatre stage.
12 minutes long.
12 minutes long.
And did you say earlier the performance is 3 hours in total?
Including the interval,
okay.
Yes. Yeah. So there is a 20-minute interval in the middle of that, but yeah.
Is that still longer than some other musicals as well?
Yes.
It is. It is, yeah.
Because a couple of our listeners were saying, how do you condense maybe the film into just a 90-minute or less musical? But you've really just...
We've actually made it longer.
It's longer than the original film?
Yeah, it's longer than the film. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you can fit everything in there. And Simon, how about you?
So for me, I suppose... I'll have seen the Billies dance through the audition process. Mm-hmm. And then once rehearsals start, my work is very focused on the acting side of things, working with our musical director on the singing side of things. All the dance training is kept quite separate. So I'll spend kind of the first, maybe a couple of months of rehearsals really working with these boys on the scenes. So we get to a point in rehearsals where we start to put the show together. Mm-hmm. And when I see these boys put together the Song of Electricity, which you heard earlier, with then their dance that goes with that, and I can see how these boys have grown, how they developed over the course of the year. Seeing them perform that number live is always an incredibly moving moment. And I think for the audiences as well, they followed the story of this boy. Electricity comes about 2.5 hours into the show, so they followed his story. When they see him finally burst out, as Tom said, expressing himself through dance, it's an incredibly powerful moment. I'd also say to the audiences, don't leave straight away at the end of the show. Sometimes people think, the show's over now, let's go home. Yeah. But actually the finale for this, which I suppose is basically, the curtain call, is a phenomenal piece of choreography, a joyous celebration. So don't leave until the finale is over, because you're in for a treat.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I think we've learnt our lesson in Korea, and a lot of audience members now want the encore, want the curtain call, and will stay for that. Good advice. In terms of now it being in Korea, and we're a Korean culture show to many listeners across the world, so they're always interested in the specificities of Korea and having performances here. We've got big culture here called the haeshik, going out for a meal or a drink after performances, after work, things like that. With COVID, I assume that's been nigh on impossible. Have there been any ways that you've been able to celebrate and unwind with cast members and with kids? Does that even happen usually with Billy Elliot?
Well, unfortunately, that has not happened at all. And like you say, it's one of the things that we all love about what we do, and specifically here in Korea, it's it's very important. But we can't do that. We can't mix after rehearsals.
Sure.
We followed the rules diligently. Mm-hmm. So we have to do it in the day. So we find times in rehearsal where we can bond and we can talk, and we can have those moments where our sort of rehearsal guard is down, if you like. Mm-hmm. So making sure that happens has been good, and I think that's been good for the process. And in terms of the children, we really don't socialise with them outside. No, we don't, unless it's through the company where we're all together and we're doing something. We keep our relationship with them very professional, I'd say.
Because also their social time, that's the time to be with their family. That's the time to be kids, So
they want their mum and dad.
Yeah, but having said that, if back in the day when we would have had an opening night party, the kids would absolutely have been part of that, as would their families. They're all part of the Billy Elliot family, and we have to thank the families for giving us their kids for this length of time. So that they're all part of it. For me, the eating out, the drinking out, and everything has been the thing I've missed most being here. As I said, it's fantastic fantastic being here and be able to work with these brilliant teams and these brilliant casts again. But last time, 2017, we would be out trying new foods, going to new places all the time, and it's such a shame we can't do that this time.
Yeah, our listeners are always curious with any special guests, like, what is one standout thing for you from Korea? It could be a food, it could be a place, it could be an experience. What have you liked before, pre-COVID?
For me, it's all the food. It's just everything you eat is delicious. And
do you not find it too spicy? Because a lot of our listeners who haven't been here, they often worry. A lot of it is red. They think of kimchi and maybe other spicy foods.
I mean, I eat kimchi at breakfast. It's sort of I absolutely love it. It's quite delicious. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd agree. I guess specifically, I'm sad not to be able to go to the fish market. Last time we had a couple of really great nights out at the fish market. I just love all that fresh seafood, maybe a bit of soju to go to go along with it. And obviously it's such a busy place. We just can't go there this time.
Yeah. Again, I'm sure we'll be back with Billy Elliot another year post-COVID. I hope there is a post-COVID as well. Yeah. And finally, then, with Korean audiences, is there something you find that is unique to them? Are they good in terms of responding to what's going on the stage?
I mean, what I found is the audiences here in Seoul, they prize the music theatre industry. You know, it's something that they really hold dear, that they celebrate, that they love, that they respect. So I found like Korean audiences to be like so supportive of the show, coming back time and time again. I think that's the other thing, because of that culture of double casting, lots of people want to come and see the show twice to see both casts. Well, I'm sorry, we've got 4 boys playing Billy Elliot, so if you really want to get the full experience, you've got to come and see all 4 of these boys. So you know, I think to kind of become a fan of this show, to really support it, that's something that Korean audiences are really great at.
Sure, yeah. It goes the same for films as well in the cinema. If they like something, they'll watch it more than once. Before we run out of time, you've got to introduce the schedule where this is taking place. So you said it's starting at the end of this month?
It is, yes. So we're at the D-Cube Arts Centre. We start at the end of this month, 31st of August, and we're going through until the 2nd of February.
Is that pretty much daily, nightly?
Yeah, that's going to be 6 days a week.
Wow.
And we've got 2 casts of adults, 4 billies, and an incredible ensemble cast. So, please come along and see it as many times as you can.
We've also kindly been given 3 pairs of tickets. So to any listeners who would like those, we'll be giving out some more information. But send us a message and just say Billy Elliot, and we'll get in touch with, I think, 3 winners and 3 pairs of tickets in the future. Before you leave, just a goodbye to our listeners and potential viewers of the musical, guys.
Cool, yeah, well, thank you so much for listening. Peter, thank you so much for chatting to us today. It's been an absolute joy. And yes, I really hope that audiences embrace this show. I think now more than ever, you know, we need live theatre, and this is a show about a group of people, a community of people fighting against adversity. So I think we all know what that feels like at the moment.
Fantastic. And Tom, any last words?
Just thanks for listening today, and we look forward to seeing you at the theatre.
Fantastic. I hope I can get my hands on a pair of tickets as well. It's been a pleasure to have you guys in. Have a safe trip back to your respective home countries when you do go as well.